as of yesterday, the Dodgers and the Giants are officially tied for first place.
It came pretty quickly too, all of a sudden.
Yes, it did.
Didn't take, it didn't grind out, and catch them here. I mean, the Giants just, boy, a lug nut came off the wheel.
Absolutely. And
Pitching, the hitting, they can't hardly do anything.
And at the same time, all of those things have manifested themselves for the Dodgers. I mean, I think I looked at the calendar, and in their last 20 games, I believe they were 14-20. I mean, they're just really riding strong pitching performances. I mean, Clayton Kershaw has obviously been the one most well-known because right now he's in the middle of a 28-inning scoreless streak. So it's spanned 3 games. And again, yesterday he was 7 innings, 13 Ks against the Cardinals. And again, Dodgers took 3 of 4 from a team that is now kind of reeling themselves. I mean, the Cardinals, as you look at them, have now been caught by the Reds for second place in the NL Central.
Yeah, there's some big action. It's good, too, because it's some of the teams that you think you kind of expected to kind of be in it, but they weren't. And so we as analysts are always, taking a look at things like that. But, we always want to stay on top of things currently as they happen. And so these things are what makes a season interesting.
Yeah, well, and I think it's very interesting is that, 2 of the bigger question marks for the Dodgers going into this season was the back end of their rotation. They again acquired Dan Herron on a 1-year contract. They've still had Josh Beckett, but albeit not very productive in the last couple of years. And when you look at those guys, I mean, the back end of their rotation is very strong. And Beckett,
their whole rotation is pretty good right now.
Yeah.
You mentioned the ERAs and all that stuff, and the bullpen was an area where they were having some issues a little bit, but those guys are getting it together, and boy, oh boy.
Well, and even if you look at Brian Wilson, in his last 10 appearances, he's only given up 1 run. And this was a guy who in the beginning had his faults, and those cost the Dodgers a couple of games in that mix. Kenley Jansen is, I believe, if I saw correctly, 24 out of 27 in save opportunities, but still riding a higher ERA. It's kind of like when he gives it up big, but you still can't discount the stuff that he's got.
No, and you got Kershaw in the mix, so all this, he throws that no-hitter, and that kind of picks everybody up. We saw the hot foot on there today. Those guys are feeling pretty good and looking for opportunities to get better and have more and more fun. And they look dangerous to me. Really.
Yes.
They look very dangerous.
Yeah, and again, for those of you that didn't see this, yesterday Scott Van Slyke was victim of what is known as the hot foot. And again, you saw the footage of this. This was a pretty intricate little setup that they did on Scott over there.
I couldn't tell what that was. It was some sort of like a pipe bomb almost that caught on fire.
Yeah.
It was stuck on there.
And it looked like bubble gum. If you looked at it looked like it did see pink outside of the mechanism itself. So
it's pretty good though, because you noticed he smelt something initially. That's what you want to happen. You smell something burning. You're not sure where it's what it is, and then all of a sudden you've been a victim.
Well, yeah, and there's a great, I believe if you go to MLB.com, you can see within their article, which is really interesting, you see that kind of the 2 frames going at the same time. You see him standing on the perimeter of the dugout looking to guys saying, well, you smell something? You smell something? And inside the dugout behind him, as this is burning and he's unaware of it, you see the entire Dodgers dugout cracking up. But again, you said that this is something in itself. You're seeing this body language that's coming from the Dodgers, and it's a sign of confidence. I mean, that, being able to kind of let go within a game like that and still be on focus. They didn't end up giving up. There still was a 6-0 win yesterday. They didn't give up any runs after the hot foot happened. Team didn't lose focus. And that really is, that's a sign of where they are. And my question to you is, I know that this is a long season. We're actually just about to post our Bruce Bochy clip where we talked to him at the end of April, and we're talking to him about kind of the rhythm of the season. And he says, there's no point to ever be content. It's because it moves up and down in that type of sense. But my question for you is, how aware would the Giants be of what's happening in the standings? Again, their lead shrinking and the Dodgers gaining on them.
Well, you are very aware of it because the scoreboard is right there in your face every night, and the scores are getting put up, as the games progress, inning by inning, and so you can see what's happening. Guys, you can say they don't look at it, but I guarantee you they're looking at it. all the and then of course you start feeling a little pressure. So, you got to do something. Oh, look at they're winning, they're losing. All that plays a role, and it's there every day. And then after the game, you get reminded of it too, by the writers and so forth. And so
now, but is this something that? I guess my question is this something that becomes addressed as a team, or is it better handled by addressing the individuals? Do you address it at all? How does the team, in your opinion, handle it internally?
Just trying to get something going. It's not that, you're going to have, usually the teams I've been on, usually there's a guy or two that are, more vocal that try to get guys, pat guys, and get them going, and people will do a number of things to try to, build your confidence to get something going. It's all about getting an inning going offensively. You need to put a crooked number up and get something going. At some point in time, somebody in your pitching staff has to go out and shut somebody down, and stop whatever is happening there if you're on a losing streak or something like that. So it's not something that really has to be posted. It's just, as a professional in the big leagues, you kind of know these things, and you just try to go about them. You try to get better each day and try to figure out your opposition and what they're trying to, as a pitching deal, you're trying to figure out what they're going to look for and what weaknesses they have and what's going on, where you're playing on. There's all kinds of things you take into consideration. So.
And when
stuff.
Yeah, and when you look at, both teams have recently had a no-hitter, and you watch where Kershaw's no-hitter was for the Dodgers a couple weeks ago, and that really was kind of the beginning of the hot streak coming for them. That was amidst of them really starting to win a lot of games. And yet last week when you watched Lincecum's no-hitter, the body language of the Giants, it made you believe at that point that this looked like that could be a turning of the page. It just looked like, but again, it's also the beauty of baseball being a day-to-day game where one day is gold and the next day is mud.
But the Giants went from playing the Padres to the Reds. And the Reds are playing well right now. Yeah. And they right into a buzzsaw.
Yes, absolutely.
And, they just, it just, like you say, it just seemed like their no-hitter from Lincecum really didn't have that stopper-type effect, and they come out the next day and take it to him, and keep the thing going. It was just something that happened. Yeah. And I think deep down the hitters, not the hitters, but I guess the whole team realized that it was against San Diego, and that that it was just another game and just another win. That they were still right back where they started from a day before, and you got to go face them again. And the Giants just haven't gotten back on that roll.